They say trading is the hardest way to make an easy living. It's a clever line, but it barely scratches the surface of the abyss that awaits most who dare to enter. If you were to ask me, what is trading? I wouldn't insult your intelligence with textbook definitions, nor would I dazzle you with kaleidoscopic charts and cryptic jargon. No, I'd lean in, and with the weight of experience, I'd say, let me share a piece of my soul with you. Let me tell you a story. This isn't a tale of Lamborghinis and instant riches. This is a story etched in scars, paid for in sleepless nights, and baptized in the cold sweat of fear. It's my story, a relentless journey where every footstep left an imprint, sometimes a wound, always a lesson. A pilgrimage into the very mind of a trader, a path you only truly understand by walking its brutal, unforgiving miles yourself. I was a mechanical engineer, 42 now. Trading found me, or perhaps I stumbled into its siren call, around 2018. I was utterly blind to its nature, a complete novice. It happened as these life-altering things often do by chance. A late evening adrift on YouTube, a random ad flickered onto my screen. Curiosity, that double-edged sword, compelled me to click. And in that single click, a new world cracked open. It was also the precise moment I stepped onto a path that would later gift me an intimate understanding of insomnia, of hope, and of despair. An acquaintance, smooth-talking and confident, painted a seductive picture of commodity trading. Specifically, soybean oil futures sounded foreign exotic, but the promise, easy money. The initial stake, just over $1,200. I knew nothing of market mechanics, zero foundational knowledge. I simply believed. Believed the broker, a man whose words flowed with an unnerving, persuasive certainty. I opened an account. Day one, I won. A clean $360. The euphoria. It's indescribable. A dizzying, intoxicating rush. I felt like I'd discovered Wall Street's best-kept secret. This is it, I thought. This is how easy it is. Click a few buttons and the money just appears. So I wired in more, this time around $5,000. I wanted larger positions, 4 lots of soybean oil. More leverage, more thrill. The next 2 days I was still profitable, but the wins, they were shrinking. $200, then $80, then barely $30. A nagging detail caught my attention, the fees. $15 to open a trade, another $15 to close. Profits dwindled, but those damn fees were constant. A flicker of doubt quickly extinguished by my faith in my guide. Day 4, he called again. Add 2 more lots. Trust me. I did, and this time the market didn't play along. $600 vanished, just like that. My heart hammered, a cold dread coiling in my gut, but I forced a calm I didn't feel. Day 5. Silence from the broker. I was on my own, so I did what any desperate novice would. I took the reins, entered a single lot. It immediately bled red, down $400. Panic sharp and cold clawed at me, but I couldn't hit the close button. I have to get it back, screamed the voice of my ego. I can't take this loss. So I doubled down. 2 more lots. A desperate gamble on a reversal, but the market has no mercy for hope. It plunged. In under a few hours, nearly my entire $5,000 stake evaporated, leaving me with barely enough for a coffee. An unthinkable, staggering loss. A brutal awakening from a fool's dream. I was numb. Sweat poured down my face, my shirt clinging to me despite the cool air. I sat there staring at the flickering screen, the numbers, a cruel mockery. What just happened? How could it be so swift, so absolute? Almost everything gone in less than a week. My first and most visceral crucifixion in the trading arena. After that wipeout, I couldn't bear to look at a chart. I retreated, burying myself in my engineering work, trying to pretend that seductive, treacherous world had never existed, but an ember smoldered within, an unhealed wound, an unextinguished dream. And so the cycle began anew. This time I'd be smarter, or so I told myself. I devoured information market theory indicators, RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci. I learned to draw trend lines to map support and resistance. The questions haunted me. Did I fail because I lacked knowledge? Was my discipline lacking? Hours bled into days, lost in a vortex of videos, articles, books on trading psychology, money management. The first time was a fluke, I reasoned. I wasn't prepared. This time I'll be a professional. Then one day, an online ad caught my eye, a gold trading group. Their social media was a curated fantasy of success. Screenshots of daily profits, $100, $200, even $500. The pitch was polished, seductive, expert signal analysis, precise stop-loss and take-profit levels, emotionless execution. Doubt gnawed at me, the ghost of my first failure whispering caution. But then a treacherous thought. My last crash was pure indiscipline. If I just follow their signals, execute perfectly, and this has to be safer, right? After a 3-month trading hiatus, I funded a new account with $2,000. Enough to chase the dream again. I abandoned commodities, the margin, the fees, too steep. Gold was this group's proclaimed expertise. For 2 weeks, I was the perfect soldier, followed every directive. Timed entries, clear stops, defined targets. Sometimes a trade would dip a flicker of red, a familiar lurch in my stomach, but then, almost magically, it would reverse and hit the take profit. I clawed back about $200 in 2 weeks. Not a fortune, but for me, then it was a lifeline. This is it, I thought, a fragile hope blooming. I've found the way. But the market, as you know, or will soon learn, has a way of humbling even the most cautious optimism. Week 3, a Friday, the usual signal from the group. 2 p.m. Buy gold, they announced as the price consolidated after a small dip. I entered 0.1 lots. The price continued its slow, agonizing drift downwards. Down nearly $30, I held my nerve. The group chat was a chorus of confidence. Strong support here, folks. It's gonna bounce big time. I waited. By 4 p.m., the position was bleeding heavily, over $100 in the red. The group leader, a figure of supposed authority, chimed in again. This is a prime buying opportunity. Add to your positions to average down. Prepare for a massive rally. And like a lamb to the slaughter, blinded by a desperate need to believe I did, I was walking deeper into a trap, utterly oblivious. That evening was the U.S. session. Non-Farm Payrolls, a high-impact news event notorious for its market-shattering volatility. But I knew nothing of this. My world had shrunk to one singular desperate focus: get back to break-even. 7:30 p.m. A monstrous red candle appeared on the chart, plunging like a meteor. In less than 30 seconds, my account was annihilated, wiped clean. No capital, no open positions, no hope. I sat there frozen, a spectator to my own financial ruin. Hands trembling, heart a wild, arrhythmic drum. Over, just like that. Too fast, too brutal. No explanation from the group. Silence. The self-proclaimed gurus who had so confidently predicted a rally vanished. No accountability, no apology. Just me and the stark, unforgiving zero on my screen. And then the sickening truth crystallized. That group, they weren't traders, not in any real sense. Their profits came from my volume, from the commissions generated by my naive clicks. Whether I won or lost was utterly irrelevant to them. They risked nothing. The lesson this time wasn't about charts or indicators. It was about the treacherous nature of blind faith, about the predators that lurk in these waters, preying on hope and ignorance. Trading, I began to truly understand, is a solitary path. Your wins are yours. Your losses are yours. Your responsibility from beginning to end. No one can save you. No signal service holds a magic key. And believe me, no one feels the sting of your losses more acutely than you do. I'd lost $2,000, but the real casualty was the shred of faith I had left in my own judgment. I thought I had learned. I had merely found a more sophisticated way to fail. 2 accounts incinerated, each a deep, searing brand on my psyche. The pain was a constant companion, and yet perversely, I couldn't tear myself away. The market, it's a silent addiction, no smoke, no substance, just the insidious click of a mouse and the adrenaline-fueled thrum of your heart as numbers flicker across a screen, holding your fate in their dance. This time, I swore the familiar mantra of the damned, this time it will be different. Discipline, ironclad stop-losses, no holding losers, only A-plus setups. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Theory always does, until the raw, untamed energy of the market unleashes itself. I had no more of my own money, but the itch, the burning compulsion to get back in, to fix it, to win it back. It was all-consuming, so I did something I still carry with shame. I turned to my sister. I lied. I need it for an advanced English course. I spun a tale. Just for a couple of months. I'll pay you back, promise. She trusted me, her kindness, a stark contrast to my deceit. She sent me another $1,200. My hands trembled as I saw the funds hit my account. This wasn't just money anymore. This was borrowed trust, love even. Instead of caution, I embraced recklessness, higher leverage. Why, it wasn't a lack of market knowledge this time. It was ego. My ego, battered and bruised, was now a raging inferno. I wasn't trading to learn anymore. I was trading to prove. Prove to myself I wasn't the idiot who'd blown 2 accounts. Prove to my friends I could conjure wealth from a keyboard. And somewhere in the darkest recesses of my mind, a desperate, pathetic need to prove to an old girlfriend that she hadn't wasted her belief in me. My trading devolved into a chaotic frenzy. No longer 1 or 2 carefully considered trades a day. It was 5, then 10, then 20, until the entries blurred into a meaningless stream. Every win a fleeting manic high, every loss a physical blow, an assault on my already shattered pride. I called it recovering losses. The truth, it was revenge trading, pure and simple. Some days I'd claw back $100. Did I stop? Did I bank it? No. My mind would immediately flash to the thousands I'd already lost, the new debt I'd incurred. Keep going, the ego whispered. You're not even close. And so inevitably, because I possessed no internal brake, I'd lose it all. Again. Not due to a lack of skill or a flawed strategy, but from a catastrophic, soul-crushing lack of discipline. I knew what I should do. I was simply incapable of doing it. I could have cut a losing trade early, but hope that beautiful, treacherous liar kept me chained to the screen. I could have stepped away, taken a breath, but I'd always chase just one more trade. That one more trade was always the gateway to a fresh hell of losses. Of all the adversaries I faced in the market, algorithms, institutions, an ocean of sharks, my own ego was the only one that consistently and utterly defeated me, my account balance a testament to its victories. Then one afternoon, the market was a dead calm, a sideways drift offering no clear signals. I stared at the charts, my mind desperately trying to project patterns, to conjure a reason to click. I knew with chilling certainty I shouldn't trade, but the compulsion was too strong. I entered. The trade immediately soured. I entered another larger to fix it, then another and another. I was a runaway train with no way to stop. The end was swift, brutal, and by now horribly familiar. Account number 3 incinerated. looking at the balance less than $5. This time, no sadness, no anger, no screams, just a hollow, mirthless smile, the smile of a man who had just witnessed his own self-destruction. The pain wasn't about the money anymore. It was the agonizing realization that I knew I was wrong, I knew better, and yet I did it anyway. The deepest cut in trading isn't a losing trade. It's the betrayal of your own discipline, your own hard-won knowledge. That night, the phone stayed off. The lights stayed off. I sat alone in the suffocating darkness of my room, silence save for the frantic thumping in my chest. Staring at the indifferent ceiling, a single question echoed in the void. What in God's name am I doing with my life? Trading was no longer a dream of financial freedom. It had become a silent, insidious war waged within the confines of my own mind against the weakest, most desperate parts of myself. And I was losing. Badly. If you're still with me, if these words are stirring something within you, perhaps a painful recognition, then know this: you are not alone in this struggle. This battlefield of the mind is one many of us walk. Here at Mind of a Trader, we don't shy away from these uncomfortable truths. We explore them, dissect them, because understanding the why behind our actions is the first step to true mastery. If this resonates, if you feel that pull, that desire for genuine understanding, do me a small kindness, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Because this journey, this exploration into the trader's mind, is one we are taking together. And if you think someone else needs to hear this to know they're not the only one fighting these demons, share this video. You might just throw them a lifeline. There was a night etched in my memory. I watched my account balance dwindle to practically nothing, a few solitary dollars. I felt scoured out, empty. No anger, no more hope, just a vast, echoing desolation. And in that moment of absolute vulnerability, I picked up my phone. I messaged an old acquaintance, someone I knew had been trading for a couple of years. He never flaunted wins, never posted on social media, but I knew somehow he was making it work quietly, persistently. My message was a raw, desperate cry from a broken place. How do you actually make money at this? And I can't. I've studied everything. I've tried everything, and I still lose. His reply was swift, concise, and it struck me with the force of a physical blow. He wrote, "Because you're not trading, you're gambling." Silence. I couldn't form a word, but in the deepest, most honest part of my soul, I knew he was right. I knew it. I began to look at myself truly, look for the first time without illusion. Every trade was a whim, an emotional spasm. Price rallies, I jump in chasing. Price drops, I panic sell at the bottom. No coherent reason for any entry or exit. Stop losses, arbitrary if placed at all. A trading journal. What was that? Risk management, a concept I paid lip service to but never truly implemented. I called it trading. In reality, I was at a high-stakes poker table betting on gut feelings, convinced of my own intuitive genius, while the market, infinitely more patient, infinitely more cunning, was simply waiting for me to self-destruct. And then for the very first time in this torturous journey, I stopped asking, how can I win big fast? I asked a different question, a question that changed everything. How do I simply survive? I went back to the drawing board, utterly humbled. But this time there was no more desperate searching for holy grail indicators, no more chasing phantom profits in online forums. This time I focused on building a system, a framework, something I'd arrogantly dismissed before. I wrote down explicit non-negotiable rules for entry, when to trade, and more importantly, when to stay out. I learned genuine risk management, risking no more than 1 to 2% of my capital on any single trade. I learned to set stop losses strategically based on market structure, not on hope or fear. I planned my profit targets not for home runs, but for consistent, sustainable base hits. And crucially, I started keeping a meticulous trading journal every single day, not just the P&L, but my emotions. Why did I take that trade? Was I feeling fearful, greedy, overconfident? When I won, what were my thoughts? When I lost, did I spiral line by line, entry by entry? That journal began to reflect the unvarnished, often ugly truth of my trading self. And a profound realization dawned without a system. You are not a trader. You are simply lost prey. The market is not a benign field of opportunity. It is a wilderness filled with predators. They don't need to be smarter than you. They just need you to be emotional, overconfident, undisciplined. When you are, you willingly serve yourself up on a platter. Before I'd rage against the market's unfairness. Now I only ask, where did I deviate from my system? Because trading doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't demand you're right all the time. It demands that you rigorously control your downside when you are inevitably wrong. And that control, that discipline, can only be born from an unwavering adherence to a clear, well-defined system. I once believed that a robust system was the final piece of the puzzle. A solid methodology, clearly defined stop losses and take profits. Surely that was the key to survival. But then I encountered an adversary even more insidious than ignorance, my own mind. My psychology. I could have a trade analyzed to perfection. Entry, stop, target, all flawless on paper. The price dips a few insignificant pips into the red, and a tidal wave of panic would engulf me. I'd cut the trade prematurely, only to watch with a sickening lurch of regret as the market turned and validated my original analysis. Conversely, there were times a trade would be deep in the red, screaming at my stop loss. I knew I should cut it, take the defined loss, but I couldn't. I'd drag my stop loss further away, a desperate prayer for a reversal, only to witness my account bleed out pip by agonizing pip. That's when the real understanding hit me like a bolt of lightning. Knowledge tells you what to do. Your psychology determines if you can actually do it. And so the real work began, the forging of a trader's mind. I imposed strict limits on my trading activity. No more impulsive scattergun entries. I journaled my emotional state after every single trading session. What did I see on the charts? More importantly, what did I feel? Fear, greed, impatience. Hope. I shifted my entire focus from the seductive, poisonous allure of short-term profit and loss to the unwavering monastic discipline of process execution. Because to win against the market, you must first conquer the market within yourself. When I first tiptoed into this world, all I saw was the glittering facade, the screenshots of green P&L, the laptops artfully staged on tropical beaches, the illusion of effortless freedom of a lifestyle untethered. No one told me about the sleepless nights that fuel those carefully curated images, the soul-crushing losing streaks that can stretch for weeks, even months, the blown accounts you're too ashamed, too broken to speak of. No one tells you how profoundly lonely this endeavor can be. No boss to guide you, no colleagues to share the burden. Every morning you power up your screen and you alone decide right from wrong, and you alone bear the full, unadulterated weight of the consequences. No one tells you about the months you might not earn a single dime, or how one impulsive, undisciplined trade can obliterate weeks, even months of painstaking progress. And the most critical, non-negotiable truth: trading demands tuition. And that tuition is paid in real, hard-earned, often painfully lost money. Your money. No one else shoulders your losses. I, too, once dreamed of that explosive account-doubling trade, believed that if I could just go all in at precisely the right moment, my life would be transformed. Then I witnessed time and again traders hit those euphoric jackpots only to lose it all and more because they lacked a sustainable long-term mindset. I began to understand a trader doesn't build a career on a single spectacular win. They survive, and then they thrive through the consistent, disciplined execution of hundreds, even thousands of trades over time. A truly skilled trader isn't the one who lands the biggest knockout punch. It's the one who can stay in the ring day after day, absorbing the blows, managing their energy, and consistently scoring small calculated points. My entire philosophy shifted. No more hunting for life-altering trades. Just a relentless focus on identifying high-probability setups, implementing impeccable risk management, and prioritizing capital preservation above all else. Trading isn't a sprint to riches. It's a brutal endurance marathon. And in this marathon, the one who survives longest often wins. I once believed that knowledge, that the perfect strategy was everything. The deeper I ventured into this labyrinth, the more I realized it's not the method. It's not even the depth of your market knowledge. It is discipline, raw, unwavering, relentless discipline that is the ultimate arbiter of survival. I've shattered my own meticulously crafted systems in a fit of pique after a few consecutive losses. I've succumbed to FOMO chasing parabolic moves. I've engaged in ruinous revenge trading. And I've paid the tuition every single time, until I finally truly viscerally understood the market only needs you to lose your discipline once, to reclaim everything you've ever gained, and then some. From that point forward, my focus became absolute adherence. Every trade a clear, predefined reason for entry. Stop loss, take profit, sacrosanct. If I'm wrong, I accept it, I cut the loss, I step away. No averaging down into a losing position, no chasing. No desperate attempts to make it back immediately. Discipline doesn't guarantee you'll win every trade, but its absence guarantees you will eventually lose everything. Trading is not a game. It is a profound, lifelong journey into the depths of the market, and more importantly, into the depths of yourself. And you need a full armory, knowledge, a robust system, an indomitable mindset, and ironclad discipline, just to survive its trials. Because the market, make no mistake, shows no mercy to anyone, including you. And through all this fire, all this pain, I came to understand one overarching immutable truth. Trading in its purest, most demanding form is truly a path not meant for the many. It is not painted in rosy hues of easy wealth. It is not a gentle stroll. And absolutely, unequivocally, not everyone is equipped temperamentally or psychologically to walk its treacherous, thorn-strewn path to its end. It will challenge you at levels so profound, so deeply personal, so brutally unforgiving that it will either break you or forge you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined you could be. Your mind, when your P&L is a sea of red, when your account is bleeding out and you must still maintain a composure so absolute it feels like ice in your veins. Your discipline when you are down significantly, every fiber of your being screaming to chase, to get it back. But your rational mind, your system demands you stop, forbids you from gambling. Your conviction when the world around you, perhaps even those closest to you, doubt your sanity, and you finally realize with stark clarity that there is only one person whose belief you truly need, yourself. Trading offers no promises, no guarantees of success, no fixed monthly paycheck, and certainly no one to hold your hand and guide you step by step through its labyrinthine complexities. There is only you, your screen, the ever-shifting indifferent market, and one singular momentous choice you must make every single day. Do I continue or do I walk away? But if you choose to continue, if you choose to walk this path, then I implore you, walk it with your eyes wide open. Walk it with brutal, unsparing honesty about your own weaknesses, your own biases. Walk it with a persistent, resilient will that refuses to be extinguished. Because only then, only when you have been stripped bare, only when you have confronted the abyss, will you begin to learn the lessons that no university, no trading course, no guru can ever truly teach you. How to make clear, rational decisions in moments of utter chaos and overwhelming fear. How to master your emotions when your mind is a raging tempest. And most importantly, how to find the unshakable courage to confront and ultimately to understand the unvarnished, often uncomfortable truth of who you really are. If you find yourself now at the beginning of this arduous journey, I am not here to advise you to quit, nor am I here to offer you false encouragement to pursue it at all costs. My only wish is that you pause, just for a moment, take a deep, cleansing breath, and ask yourself with the deepest sincerity you can muster, is trading this relentless crucible truly the path that aligns with who I am and who I aspire to be? If after that deep, honest introspection the answer is yes, then do not rush. Do not seek shortcuts, for they are illusions that lead only to ruin. Move slowly but with unwavering certainty. Do not over-leverage your capital or your emotions. Do not live in the fantasy of overnight riches. Because in this demanding arena of trading, only consistent incremental progress, painstakingly earned each and every day, will grant you the resilience, the wisdom, and the strength to survive and perhaps one day to thrive. Thank you. Thank you for your time, for your attention, for walking with me through the chapters of this journey. If you saw a fragment of your own story, your own struggles, your own aspirations reflected in these words, please do me the honor of leaving a comment below. Because in sharing our experiences, we discover that perhaps we are not as alone on this challenging path as we sometimes believe. And if you wish to continue this exploration, to delve deeper into the unseen corners, the hard-won lessons and the often unspoken truths of what it truly means to engage with the markets and with ourselves, then I invite you to join our community here at Mind of a Trader. This is where we dissect these experiences, seeking not fleeting profits, but enduring understanding. Subscribe, become part of this ongoing conversation. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video. And always remember, your first and most sacred duty in these markets is to survive. True success, lasting success, can only be built upon that foundation. Take care of yourselves and your capital.